Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 5. Today we want to present about our project which is security protocol. Okay, firstly I want to introduce my team members, which is Aisyah binti Mahmud, Nur Irdina Irisha binti Nordin, Nur Syazwina Nur Nadirah binti Zainuddin, and also me, Ahmad Danis bin Syafulazim. Okay, first I want to introduce about our project overview background, which is the security protocol. It is basically a web-based application that developed to demonstrate the implementation in fundamental practices or environment legal. Okay, the system allows users to register, authenticate, and access protected resource throughout the development process. Various security including CSRF protection, session management, authentication protection, and secure database. Okay, the main objective of the system is to protect user data, reduce common vulnerabilities, and provide practical exposure to web security implementation. Okay, next, our project consists of a few modules, which is including user registration, user authentication, user dashboard, database. This module provide a secure environment to maintain data confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Okay, next I will briefly explain contribution of each team member in my project. Okay, for Aisyah binti Mahmud, she was responsible for the preparation and organization of the project documentation. She played a key role in formatting report, which is reviewing its content, ensuring well-structured, consistent, and aligned with the project requirements. Okay, for me, Ahmad Danis bin Syafulazim, I contribute to the documentation process by assisting the preparation of the project report. The responsibility include capturing organization system interface, and also I am responsible to complete the chapter 2 and 3 as well. Okay, next for the Nur Irdina Irisha, it was responsible for the preparation of chapter 4, which focusing on evidence and demonstration. It implemented security mechanism. Her contribution involved documenting security testing process, compiling testing result, and presenting support evidence to evaluate effectiveness implemented security control. Okay, lastly, for Syazwina Nur Nadirah binti Zainuddin, she was responsible for design, deployment, implementation of the security protocol and portal.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day. Today, I would like to present about my part, which is I demonstrate the security features in this project, as we call it a security protocol. Okay, in this project, we have implement 5 elements, which is the first thing is a password hashing, and second is the SQL injection protection, and third is the XSS protection, and fourth is the CSRF protection, and last thing is the brute force protection. Okay, let's go the first thing first, which is the password hashing. Okay, I have already opened the security.php, which is on the line 13. Okay, we have used the password underscore second to ID, which is the first security features implemented in this system is secure the storage password storage. User password are not stored in a plain text. Instead, the system use the argon to ID to hashing together with a secret pepper to protect user credential. This ensure the sensitive information remain secure even in the database are compromised. Alright, second is the SQL injection. Or 1 equal point, and then password 123. So it's a blocking me to log in the portal, which is in login already said. Okay, this in line 24 we use a PDO. So the second security features in is SQL injection protection. As I show in a login page, even when a malicious SQL payload is entered, the login attempt fail. This is because the system use PDO prepared a statement which is separate user input from SQL command and prevent unauthorized data access. Right, and thirdly is a and thirdly is the SS protection. So I'm trying to insert script alert. Okay, so As you can see, you don't have any permission to access this resource. Okay, as we can see in the security part, which is, can you see here, written HTML special chars? Okay, this system will provide the protection agents CS scripting attacking, which is user input is sanitized and encoded before being displayed. As a result, malicious script cannot be executed in the browser. We're going to for protection, which is CSFR protection. I have already opened, and okay, can you see two functions, which is generate CSFR and verify CSFR? Okay, this is to prevent cross-site request foreground attacks, and the system generate in unique CSFR token for every form submission. The server verified the token before processing the request, ensuring that only legal requirements are accepted. And the last thing is a brute force protection. Okay, in this, all right, can you see?
Okay, as you can see in this part, which is we have the account temporary lock, and please try again. This is a function for the blocking a brute force to attempt many times to into the system.
The system is monitored failed login attempt and temporarily locks the account after multiple unsuccessful attempts. This will help to prevent attacker from the repeating guess user a password. So let's we try first. Can you see the account is temporarily locked after multiple failed attempts? So overall, the system is implement multiple layer of the security, including password hashing, SQL injection protection, and XSL protection, CSFR protection, and the last is proof force mitigation. This is mechanism work together to protect user data and ensure a secure web application is environment.
For my part, I will demonstrate attack scenarios and how our system prevents them. The first attack is SQL injections. SQL injection is an attack where the attacker tries to manipulate the database query by entering SQL code into an input field. For example, I enter this payload in the user ID. So the purpose of this attack is to bypass authentication without knowing the correct passwords. For example, I enter in the passwords, and as shown, the login fails and the system displays invalid credentials. This attack is prevented because our system uses PDO prepared statements. The user input is treated only as data, not as part of the SQL commands. Therefore, the database query cannot be manipulated. The second attack is a brute force attack. A brute force attack happens when an attacker repeatedly possesses user passwords. Here, I enter the correct user ID, but intentionally use the wrong password multiple times. After several failed attempts, the system temporarily locks the accounts. This prevents automated password guessing because the attacker cannot continue trying unlimited passwords. Our system records the number of failed attempts and apply an account lockout after the maximum limit is reached. The third attack is cross-site request forgery. CSRF happens when an attacker tries to trick a user into submitting an unauthorized request. In our system, every form contains a hidden CSRF token. This token must match the token stored in the user sessions. To test this, I inspect the login form. In method post here, I change the CSRF token's value into hack, and then submit the form. So the system rejects the request and shows CSRF validation fails. This proves that forged or modified requests cannot be processed without the correct session token. Finally, I open the dashboards and show the security event timelines. Here, the system records security-related actions such as login success, account lock, login fail, login blocks when account is locked, logouts, and security page access. This audit trail helps us monitor suspicious activity and supports accountability. In conclusions, our system prevents SQL injections using prepared statements, brute force attack using account lockouts, and CSRF attacks using taken validations. These protections show that the system does not only work functionally but also applies important web security mechanisms.
Assalamualaikum to Dr. Hairul. My name is Nuridin Aisyah binti Norin. So for my part is why the security mechanism were implemented. So the main objective of implementing the security mechanism is to protect user information, prevent unauthorized access and reduce common web application vulnerabilities. So the first input validation and sanitization were implemented to ensure that all user input follow the required format and do not contain malicious content. So these help prevent the attacks such as cross-site scripting or XSS and ensures that the only valid data is processed by the system. So second is password hashing using the Argon2 ID was implemented to protect user credential. Instead of storing password in plain text, the system stores only the hash version of the password. So this is important because even if the database is compromised, the attackers cannot easily retrieve the original password. So the third is authentication protection was implemented through account lockout and rate limiting mechanisms. So this control help prevent brute force attack by temporarily locking the accounts after multiple failed login attempts. In addition, CSRF protection was implemented using security tokens. So this ensured that requests submitted to the system originate from legitimate user and do not from malicious third-party websites. So the system also uses prepaid statements for database interaction. So this prevent SQL injection attacks because user input treated as data rather than executable SQL commands. Furthermore, secure session management was implemented to protect authenticated users. Session expiration and secure session identifiers have reduced the risk of session hijacking. So finally, HTTPS communication and security headers were implemented to protect data transmission and strengthen the browser level security. Overall, these mechanisms work together to provide a safer and more secure environment for users. For the next part is the reflection on system limitations and possible improvements. Although our system successfully demonstrated several fundamental web security mechanisms, there are still some limitations in the current implementation. First, the system uses only a single factor authentication, which means a user authenticate using only a username and password. This may not provide a sufficient protection if user credentials are compromised. Second, the system does not include an email verification during registration. As a result, users can register using email address that may not belong to them. Another limitation is the absence of password recovery features. Users who forget their password must rely on administrative assistance instead of reset their password independently. In addition, the project was developed mainly for educational purpose and tested within a controlled environment. Therefore, it may not fully represent the challenges faced in real-world production environment. To improve the system, several enhancements can be implemented. One important improvement is multi-factor authentication or MFA, which adds an extra layer of security beyond the passwords. Email verification can also be introduced to improve account authenticity and reduce fake registration. Furthermore, a CAPTCHA protection can be integrated to prevent the ultimate attacks and reduce brute force attempt. Activity login and monitoring features can also be added to help administrators detect the suspicious activity more effectively. In conclusion, while current implementations provide a strong foundation or web security, additional advanced security features would further strengthen the system and improve its readiness for real-world deployment.